something a little more specific when it comes to networking. Part of the reason why I've finally started growing when I started networking on Threads was I basically gave up on the VTuber community entirely and went towards just general Twitch streamer, just nothing specific. It's just other content creators, no niche or anything. It's just other content creators, and that allowed me to grow to the point where I am now. And of course, it's still just the very beginning because I do want, to build a community of people who want to check me out just because it's me. It's Vallen, this little shit. Definitely appreciate visits from streamer friends. Always appreciate it. Support of every form is appreciated. But real growth involve having people in my target demographic, and that's of course any on that subject. Anybody's allowed to like something, right? You don't have to be part of the target demographic to like something. It's just for algorithm reasons. It is a point of concern for me because, as much as I appreciate the support, it does give mixed messages to the algorithms. So that is something I do need to work on. I need more VTuber parallels. People who follow VTubers and like VTubers also liking and engaging with me will signal to the algorithm that they show my content to more of those kinds of people. So that is something I'm working on right now. Hitting that hard. Twitter and Blue Sky has been rough, but I still try there. And there was a post made by, I'm not going to say who, but there was a, because it doesn't really matter, there was a post made by somebody, and I see this kind of post all the time from a VTuber, and it's always a woman, always a girl VTuber, and they come off as very young. It's just always the case. Not judging or anything, it's just always the case. And they'll say something to the effect of, I really want to meet friends on here. I really want to meet friends. I don't want to just visit people just for numbers purposes. I want to make friends. But it's like, well, what you do is you go into streams and you visit and you check them out, see if you vibe with them, and you say hi, and that's how you network. You network with people. They go, no, that I don't want to just go there just for the numbers. I want to make friends here. Like, that's... See, here's the thing. I'm an old fart, right? And I like to think I'm a little bit wise. Of course, it's the ignorant fool claims to be wise. Some wise dude said that at some point. Anyway, I'm old enough to at least know that relationships are hard. Relationships are hard. As an adult, extremely difficult to make friends. Like, I have one person that I actually truly call a friend. And yes, I do have streamer friends. But I mean, like, somebody that I actually call a friend, where it's like I helped him move, and he paid me a pizza, that kind of thing. And I met him 15 years ago? 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I met him. And it was a few years later that I, started to call him a friend. But that's kind of goes back to the point, right? I met him for gaming, right? D&D. He was a DM, and kind of a funny story to that is I was part of another group, and he was poaching players for his game. And I started playing them both and preferred his style, and so I stuck around with him. But anyway, so you notice that I go over to his house to play D&D with him for years, and this was before calling him a friend. And that's kind of the same approach here, is you go visit people, see if you jive with them, and maybe it turns into friendship. But the people say, no, I want to be friends first. That's not how that works. You don't just say hi in a DM. You want to be friends? All right, we're friends now. Okay, now I'll go visit your stream and network with you. No. Start networking now, especially if you want to grow. This kind of goes back to, like, as a streamer, you don't have to do anything. There's nothing you have to do. There's just things that, Twitch TOS community guidelines that you can't do. But beyond that, you can do anything you want. There are no rules. as far as Twitch and streaming goes. There's no rules. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to network. You don't have to visit people on streams. You don't have to do any of that. But it's always people complaining about lack of viewers. I've been at this for years and nobody ever visits. It's always an empty chat room. Nobody ever says hi. Well, do you go off and network with people? No, of course not. Why would I do that? It's like, well, there you go. That might be your problem. You don't have to go off and network with people. But if you don't do things like that, I don't want to hear complaints about lack of viewers. And so, like, I made a comment along these lines in threads that, I sympathize with people who have been at this for a while and not getting viewers. I've been there. The first couple of months, I was talking to myself entirely in an empty chat room. More or less, it's kind of how it is at the moment. But it's fine when people bouncing in and out and stuff like that. And at some point, somebody pops in and says hi. I did get a hello a little moment ago. But it's when you go an entire 4 to 6 hours and it was never put in a chat box. That can be very frustrating. And that's where, networking comes into play. It's like, yes, you want to build your own community, but, getting off the ground, you got to network. And there's people who are just averse to that, which is fine. I just don't want to see complaints. It's like like on Threads was one time where somebody was like, I'm about to get this up. I've been at this for a couple of years and nobody ever visits me and it's always an empty chat room and yada, 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 yada. And my first response to them is, who are you? This is the first I've seen of you. And I look at their posts and they literally hadn't posted in 2 months. And it's like, there's your problem.